Hi friends, it's been forever since our last recorder video. I am so sorry I haven't been able to put up anything for you in the last little while. It's been a couple of months. I planned on having something for you. It was going to build upon the last video, extra scales, more complicated music, incorporating the alto recorder a little bit more, stuff like that. But then I decided I wanted to revisit one of the most important parts of recorder technique, which will help in your singing. And that is breathing, fingering, and probably the most important part is the listening. I'm going to ask all of you to play a G with me. So I'm going to play one right now, 0, 1, 2, 3. It's a simple range note, very easy to get. I want to play it evenly and with a continuous breath flow. Let's try it. All right, that was not bad. When I'm playing my G, I don't want to bite the beak of the recorder. I don't want to press my lips very tightly. It needs to be sealed, but it can't be tight. The other thing that I'm doing is I need to make sure that my fingers are placed on the holes precisely where they ought to be. Not on an edge, not too extended, but with the pads of the fingers perfectly covering the holes. Then what I need to do is maintain evenness. Stillness in my body will translate to a stillness and even sound on the recorder. Listen to this G played on an organ. Now, a pipe organ is very similar to this. It just has many pipes, and you can play many different things, many different notes. What makes the organ so even is that the wind pressure generated in the bellows of the organ and being transmitted into the pipes is even. We do need to emulate that. Listen to it again. Let's try to sound just like that. It's not bad. I want to emulate that evenness on the organ, being mindful that when we play on the recorder, there is beauty in the novelty of the irregularity in the human breath, and that makes it a little bit more interesting. If I want to play like an organ, then I'll just play on an organ. I'm not. I'm playing on a recorder. So I want to embrace the inherent beautiful qualities of this instrument and take advantage of it. All right, let's play an A. Nice. A good sound is produced by the start, the middle, and the end. The start begins either with a tongued consonant, like a duh, to make it a little bit softer, but still precise in its beginning, or a tuh, which makes it even still harsher and more clear, or a guh, or any other kind of a consonant. If I want to make that sound without a consonant, I can just blow. But I have to make sure that my breathing starts precisely when it ought to be, and I can't ease into it like it's sort of sausages. Listen to what I want to avoid without a consonant. That wasn't very good. I eased my breathing, so the breathing was low and then it went up. I needed to be precise all the time from beginning to end, like this. Good. So I can add a consonant, like a duh or a guh, or I don't have to add a consonant. Not adding a consonant and just blowing introduces a few more complications and difficulties because I want to sound perfectly even. Let's sound a B, which is 0, 1. No duh, no guh, just blow. Pretty tricky. I want to practice playing every single note like that, without the tongue, as an exercise. Let's try that. Let's do a G, then let's do an A, and then let's do a B. Starting with the G. Let's do an A. Now a B. Now I'm going to do a G, A, and a B with a duh. Now I'm going to do an A with a duh. Now I'm going to do a B with a duh. Nice. That was the beginning, the start of my note. Then there's the middle part. I want to ensure evenness. But let's try to introduce a hint of an arch. But remember, my start has to be precise, whether I'm tonguing or not. Let's focus on that beginning, and now be aware more of that in-between part, the sustained part. Let's do it in A. Nice. Let's do a D. All right. That's great. The ending of the note is the other element. There are three: the start, the middle part, and the end. Generally, what I want to do is I want to stop the airflow. There are two ways of doing it. I can stop my breath pattern. I can stop my flow of breath by just doing literally that, stopping, like this. The difficulty or challenge with that is that sometimes it might not be even. I might stop my breathing and then I might jerk. Like when you breathe in and out, you don't just stop midway, you let it kind of ease. You inhale, then you exhale. And when you get to the very bottom, you sort of slow down in your exhale. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to do that with the recorder. If you do that on the recorder, this is what it'll sound like. And I don't want that. I want to make sure that my breathing is even, and I want to make sure that my ending is precise. What I do is, I take my tongue, and I take the tip of the tongue, and slap it against the roof of my mouth to block the airflow. It ensures that the note ends precisely, like this. Let's do a C sharp. 1, 2. Did you slap the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth? If you did, you'll notice that your breath flow ended exactly as it ought to have. So that's the one principle. The next thing that I want to do is I want to focus on fingering. Being ever mindful of your breathing, your evenness, your beginning, your middle, and your end, I want you to ensure that you have crisp, clear, precise fingering technique, transitioning from one note to the next. And I'm going to now focus on my fingering, going from a G, A, B. Now, one challenge in the fingering, is that when you make precise finger changes or transitions, you'll be inclined to overcompensate in your breathing. You might start developing jerky breathing patterns as you change your fingering. Because your fingering changes are so abrupt, it might influence your breath pattern, like this. I want to avoid jerking in my breathing. It's one long continuous breath. The changes in the notes come from the fingers entirely. Let's try that again. G, A, B. No tonguing in between. Nice. Some of the changes are more tricky than the example that we're using, G, A, B. Those are easy transition notes. How about the D, which is open, to an E, which involves a half hold 0. Let's try that. 2 notes, just that. The D to the E. The challenge with that is that I need to make sure my fingers are covering their appropriate holes at exactly the same time with the exact same amount of pressure while maintaining an unhindered flow of breath and an uninfluenced flow of breath. Okay? Let's try that one more time. We're going to play a D with the da, even midsection, end it with the tongue slapping the roof of my mouth. I'm going to play a D going up to an E. Try that. You noticed at the very beginning, it was a little bit off. My E was not good. I could edit that out and just re-record. But I think this is better that you heard me make a mistake. Why did I make a mistake? My breathing was pretty good, but it was my fingering. I need to practice going from the one note to the next, ensuring that my fingers are pressing at the same time. If they're not, I will have a little bit of a slide. And again, don't allow your breathing to be influenced by your fingering. Fingering has to be abrupt and clear and precise and crisp, but our breathing has to be even and fluid. However, the opening, the start, has to be crisp with the ga, and the closing has to be crisp with the slap of the roof of the mouth with the tip of the tongue. Going from a D to an E, and then I'm going to go to an F. All right, so we're going to do 3 notes. No tonguing in between. bad. Now, the third and most important part of playing any instrument is listening to yourself, critically. I tell my students this all the time. When I was working with all of you the other day, I noticed that a lot of you were very tight. You were so self-absorbed in making a perfect sound that you failed to do so. The reason why was because you weren't really listening to yourself. You were focused on the act of making a sound, but you didn't really know what was required in order to prepare or produce the sound. What do I mean by that? Step out of yourself. Ask yourself, how does that sound? Does it sound good to me? If it sounds good to you, then you're doing it right. In order to be aware of the weaknesses, we have to be critical. We have to look at ourselves impartially. I'm going to play a D, going to an E, going to an F. When I play these notes, I'm going to ask myself the most basic question. Does it sound nice? Does it sound good to me? Let's try it. D, E, and then an F. Did it sound okay? Not near the end. I noticed it didn't sound very good because my fingers were moving too slowly. And also, I jerked a little bit near the end too. So now I'm going to focus on an even sound, starting with a crisp beginning, having an arch, just like that organ sound, like an organ flute. And then I want to have a crisp change in the fingering. Let's try it one more time. D, E, F. Again, I could edit this out, but I'm choosing not to. You noticed that there was a little bit of a weak sound in one of those notes that I just played. Let's try it one more time. D, E, and an F. Even. This time I'm going to tongue in between. So it's a da, 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 da. Avoid that tongue affecting your regularity and evenness of breath, while still maintaining crisp changes. And your tonguing has to happen precisely when you change your fingering. D, E, F, with tonguing in between. I'm going to be doing a da. That was okay. However, I noticed that my changes from one note to the next were still a little too choppy. I need to emulate a legato sound even when I'm tonguing. I'm going to do it slower, and I'm going to be mindful of when precisely do I tongue in relation to my finger changes. Again, D, E, and F. That was a little bit better. One of my notes was almost as though I never tongued, but I tongued all of them. I need to make it sound perfectly aligned. This takes practice. The best way to practice is by playing your scales, doing it slowly, using the metronome, and being aware of all of those things. Listen to yourself. Ask yourself, does it sound good? Am I loose? Am I calm? Am I capable of making all of these sounds without being jittery. The other most important thing when playing and singing is you have to let go. Ultimately, the way I look at it is, I have an objective, or I have a target. I need to shoot that target and I need to get it near the bullseye. However, there are all of these outside variables that can affect the precision of my shot, or my target. I can flinch, I can be too tight, I can hold on too tight, my breathing can be erratic, I can be doing all sorts of things that are not helping me. I have to constantly be aware of my target. In this case, I need to have a beautiful sound. My target is a beautiful sound. I have to be calm about it. I have to be collected about it. And I have to be aware of all of the things that I have to do in order to get that sound, but I can't be preoccupied with those little details and overlook the more important picture of producing a better sound. I hope this video helps you. There's a lot of talking in here, although I think it's very necessary. In the next week or so, I want you to practice your scales. Step out of yourself, listen to yourself, be aware of all of those things that we just talked about, and hopefully it will help you in producing even sound in your recorder playing and also when you're singing. I'll see you very soon. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.